Hi everyone, my name is Jane and we're here at PC Gamer Weekender 2016 in London, and we're going to check out Master of Orion Conquer the Stars game that is reimagining of original Master of Orion game. Hi Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about this new game?
The Master of Orion Conquer the Stars is a reimagination of the original Master of Orion series. We basically acquired an IP, and it's a legendary title that everybody that likes strategy games and 4X games really remembers, from the 90s, including our CEO Victor Kisley. So we wanted to, make it and deliver it, make it legendary once again, and bring it for the world.
So what are the new features that we can expect to see?
So we're bringing a multiplayer for once, and it's simultaneous, which means you can play your turns at the same time, which is much more convenient for the player. We also see a change in combat. It's no longer turn-based like it was in the original games. It's now real time. But you can control the time flow. You can pause it, make it slower. You can use cinematic camera or AI to actually assist you in the combat. The early access one has only 6 races available, but we're gonna have 4 more available at a later stage. And if you actually buy a collector's edition, there's 11 one, which is unique. There's also ability to create your own race. So you just select this as a picture, whichever you prefer, and then you can set up the traits on your own. Right now what you're seeing is an intro to the race. It's a story intro narrated by Michael Dorn, who's famous as Worf from Star Trek The Next Generations. We actually have quite impressive cast of voice actors, including one called Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker. This is a typical 4X turn-based strategy game, 4X being explore, expand, exterminate and exploit. You start with one planet always, in a system that usually has something else inside. This here is the view of the entire map of the galaxy, so each of the stars will have some planets in it, or maybe asteroid belts, some dangers, other races, pirates, all of this is in the game, much like the original Master of Orion had. This is a reimagining, which means we basically took the best ideas that we figured were the best ideas from the original games, made in the 1990s, and went on with it and tried to improve it, make it look nicer, play smoother. You start with a small fleet of scouts. You can click on the scout and just send it to auto-explore, so you don't have to micromanage it. And it will actually, try to find new places for you to colonize. So you have the planetary controls screen, where you can see the population of your planet. You can actually drag them around manually. You can use auto-build if you're not into that kind of thing. Basically, the game will always start with you having a colony ship prepared in next turn, so that the new player is not overwhelmed. But the general premise is you find new planets to colonize, use the colony ships to colonize, produce buildings and ships on the planets, and then try to wage war on other races. That's what it usually sums up to. Original Master of Orion had a turn-based combat, and we decided to actually make it real time. So this is the GNN news. It comes back actually from the original game as well. It used to be in the game. This is just an introduction. He will not give us any news. This is our frigate. This is the enemy frigate. These rocks here, these asteroids, they will actually serve as obstruction in space, which means if we were to shoot, for example, missiles, and the missiles were to hit the asteroids, they would just destroy the asteroids or get destroyed themselves. So what we're going to do is we're just going to rush the enemy ship. There's no strategy involved. We're equals basically at this stage. It's just our frigate versus their frigate. And we're going to turn on the cinematic view, so that we can observe how it looks. So at this stage of the game, when you're having 2 equal ships and just one ship versus one ship dishing it out, there's not much tactics involved unless you're using missiles and terrain to your advantage, like hiding behind asteroids. Later in the game, there's actually special abilities, missile ranges, fighters, bombers, star bases fighting out, and that's where the strategy, the tactics actually takes place, and you have to put an effort into a fight to win it, actually.